Right, interesting method question. Why did you choose the crochet method instead of using wax? And this is from Fuka the Trickster, spelt with a PH. So why did you choose crochet method instead of using wax? I don't know whether it's an either or thing. Actually, I just didn't want to use wax full stop, because part of that was because I'd heard the horror stories. I'd seen videos of people that had cut dreads off that had wax in them, and they're just like a nasty, waxy, horrible mess inside. So thought, well, I've seen people that have got sick dreads that haven't used wax, so I'm just going to try doing that without. And the crochet method, I decided to use that again because I saw more YouTube videos of people's dreads that had used a crochet hook to maintain and to neaten up the dreads. And pure and simple, I just want neat dreads. So I thought, okay, well, I don't want waxy, greasy dreads, and I want neat dreads. So that's why, pure and simple, I've used the crochet method. I don't know, do you crochet, yeah? You use the crochet?
I don't really use it much anymore unless I need to for my tips or something, but yeah, I did for the first year, really. The first year and a half or so.
Yeah. So yeah, I use the crochet hook pure and simple really on if I go swimming or in the sea or surfing, like the tips, some of the blunts kind of come out. So I use the crochet hook to kind of hook the hair back in so they're nice and neat again. And then regrowth at the roots, just to keep them nice and neat and tidy. But yeah, I probably used it too much in the first year. Probably didn't allow the dreads to do their own thing enough, and I probably regretted it. But I think in my earlier videos, in like month 3 or month 4, I think I kind of talk about that I've probably used the crochet hook too much. But yeah, sorry, I'm going on a bit. To answer that question, yeah, it was just a sense of, well, I've seen people that have got the kind of dreads that I want, and this is the method they use, so therefore that's why I'm doing what they do. So simple as that, really. And then the next question, I've already talked about tips. My other question is, why do you favour blunted tips over tapered tips? I don't know. It's just preference, I guess. You know, I've seen some great dreads where they've just got the natural tapered ends, but also, I'll tell you what it was actually. I think it was Honda Punk's actually. I think it was Honda Punk's videos when actually he was umming and ahhing whether he blunt his tips or not, and then I saw another guy from England. I can't even remember what the guy's name is. He's taking his videos off now because he hasn't got dreads anymore. But he blunted his tips really early on, and they look so super neat, and that's kind of really what I wanted to go for, as I already said. Yeah, so blunt tips was for me because they look neat, but I don't know. That's just personal preference.
Cool. My answer to that would be, why did you choose crochet? I actually used wax when I installed my dreads. It took me like 12 hours to do it. I used some back comb, did a bunch of crazy stuff. Definitely not what I would have done now if I had the knowledge I have now. But yeah, I used wax and I washed it out, man, and I got it all out. But let me say this: I'm not a wax hater, and I think that it can be used the right way. I've only used the wax from Dreadhead HQ. I've never used Naughty Boys or anything like that. But I know from experience that you can wash that out, and it washed out simply for me. I also made sure I didn't use a lot. But I also thought, you know, if I'm going to have to keep using this, if I don't have to use this and I can get good dreads, then why worry about it? Why do it and then have the possibility of maybe using too much? Because you talk to so many people or research it, and people are like, I thought I didn't use too much, but apparently I did because I had this crazy buildup. And I was just like, man, God forbid that happen. I don't want to get years in and cut my dreads off because I found some wax and, you know what I mean, and mold. So I was just like, not that I hate it. If for some weird reason you are the only person on earth that has to have wax, because everyone I know you don't have to have it, then maybe you can use a little. Some people really think it helps a whole lot. And I mean, if you do that and you know for a fact you're getting it out, then by all means do that. But please be safe and don't use a lot. You don't even need a lot. So that's why I did that. Crochet hook, same exact thing BaggeeBoy said, man. I used the crochet hook for the first like year and a half, and I remember when I got it, I got the wrong size. I was like, man, this thing does not work. And I use I really like the one from Clover. I have a couple, but the one from Clover is really good, and I could go into the science of it. I actually have a picture of it, but I mean, if I were to draw it out, this is kind of hard to explain. I like theirs because most crochet hooks, I use the size 0.6 millimeter, and it's a crochet hook looks essentially like this. If you can see that behind on my wall. But
shall I get? Hang on.
Do what?
I'll just get one. I've got one here. Hang on.
Okay, cool.
This is probably not going to work out too well, but hey, I've got it anyway. Because I don't know whether you'll be able to focus on that. Carry on. Sorry, dude. I didn't want to interrupt you.
They look like this, and the clover one I think works really well because the hook is actually set back like this, and so when the hair, it doesn't stick out like that. And a bunch of them I have do. And since it's set back, the hair, it's actually, once it's full inside that little slit right there, the hair will brush along the side of it because it'll be flat up against it. Yeah. So instead of it sticking out, when that thing gets full, the hairs can still rub up against that hook and it's a little more harsh, if that makes sense. And clover, that's why I recommend theirs. Those are really good. I use 0.6. I'm pretty sure Pete, that he does too. And so it works pretty good. And yeah, so that's why I use crochet hook. I wanted the neat method. It looks good, man. I like it. You don't have to, you know what I mean? If you like you said, you follow the people whose dreads you like, you can use it. You can even use it you don't have to get super neat dreads. You can you can maintain as much as you want to. You don't have to do it a whole lot. I honestly didn't do it a whole lot. Sometimes I probably did too much, but you definitely got to learn how to do it though. You know what I mean? I mean, I think me and him both have videos on how we do that. You can honestly, it's hard to show on video because it's really mostly about feel and hearing it, man. You can feel if you're doing damage, and you can feel if you're not. And sometimes even if you feel like you're not, you might be. So it's good. I always say the rule of thumb is maintain with the crochet hook as little as possible and get away with it. Sorry for such a long answer.
No, it's cool. Even if you can't feel it, you can definitely hear it because you can hear the difference of when hair's being pulled or when it's snapping.
Yeah.
And if you're snapping a bunch of hair, that's not good because if you're snapping it, then you're weakening the link between this part of the dread to here. I know that sounds silly, but if you're snapping a load of hair here, then you're making this link weaker, and then eventually the heavier this bit gets over time, the more strain it's going to be put on your hair here. Especially if you're maintaining at the root, that's a big no-no. Because like if you're snapping a whole bunch of hair at the root, you've got the whole weight of the dread like pulling on an increasingly thinner bit of the dreadlock up at the root, and then what you're going to get is this getting thinner and thinner and thinner, and it's snapping off. So you'll know the difference. You'll know the difference between hearing the hair snap and the hair just being pulled. But yeah, just don't do it too much.
Yeah, and whatever you do, don't do this. So many videos, people are like, "Yeah, here's me just maintaining it." It's just like jackhammering, man. That just don't do that, man. Please do not do that. I mean, I can, even in their video, it's so loud I can hear them just pop, 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 like popping the hair. And that is not good. You're just jamming a metal hook through there. You want to have finesse to what you do. But,
there's a guy, I don't know whether you come across him, there's a guy called Skill Teacher.
Oh, yeah.
On YouTube. And it's funny because he's as bald as a coot. It's really funny. But he's like the guy to go to when it comes to dreadlocks. And there's a couple of videos where he's in Thailand and he's actually in one of the salons and they're letting him film watch them like maintain dreads and watch what they're doing because it's just amazing. Like, so there's these girls in the salon actually maintaining this dude's dreads, adding extra hair to the dreads to thicken them up. They've got a bucket of hair. It's weird.
Yeah,
bucket
weird.
Of hair, like, and just like, and then adding it in. But their motion, it isn't just a. It's like it's kind of like it's a better movement than that.
You would never know because they move so fast too. They're so quick at it. They've been doing it forever.
Scary, yeah, but go to Skill Teacher if you want to know how to crochet properly. Okay, next question. Janet Jackson.
Oh, hold on. I forgot to do the other question. My bad. My question was too long, or my answer. Why do you favor blunted over tapered? My dreads were probably like, I mean, I started off with really short dreads, man. My video started 8 months, but my dreads were short and nuts looking, so... well, I do like tapered tips, actually. Tapered tips look good, in my preference, once your dreads are longer and mature. Whenever you first start and, like, 6 inches of your hair is, like, loose and your tips are long and curly, my preference, I don't really like that. That's cool if you do, by all means. But I eventually want that. I blunted my tips at 5 months because I wanted them to neater, shorter, and it definitely helped a lot. And I always planned to like, pull them out after a while. I pulled them out too soon. If you guys watch my videos, I pulled them out like a couple months later, and it did not look good, so I pulled them back in, and because of that, some of my tips, if I can find one, are kind of like weak, like the last inch. It's like what BaggeeBoy was saying. It's just like it's almost like if I could explain it well, it's like a knuckle in my dread. So like if I apply pressure, it kind of like you can see the whole thing comes down, but when I get to the tip just bends right there. There's a little weak spot, and I got a couple of those in the last inch, and I think that's why I shouldn't have pulled them back out. But honestly, I have some that I've let just the very tips come back out, and I like the way that it looks. If you can, you probably can't see that really too well, but and because I have most of them are blunted for the most part, but just some of them have a little bit of hair that comes out. That one's kind of super fuzzy. Looks like it got cut off or something. But I don't mind it. When they get too wild, this one's a little wild. I might have to pull that one back in. I pull them back in, but I don't mind them being a little taper, but still blunted. I just don't want the taper of the straight hair to be more than like an inch, if that makes sense. So that's my reason for it. Sorry about the long answers.
Yeah, that's right. Well, we've got a lot to say. This is good knowledge. People aren't going to mind this. Don't worry, it's cool. I say that I'm speaking for you guys. I'm sorry if we are boring you. I'm really sorry.